Good morning, dear students. We are reading the third section of the Wasteland, and I discussed in my previous class part of the third section. And in today's class, I will finish the third section. And usually, I recap what I discussed in the previous class. So, even in today's class, I want to share with you certain things. I hope that you can remember the condition or the reality of love affair in the upper class society and in the middle class or lower middle class society in the Western civilization, as has been portrayed or delineated in the Westland. We have come to know about the love affair of the Lady of Situation, which is completely mechanical, and we have also come to know about the love affair of conjugal love of Lil. So in both cases we noticed that love is absent, whether they are married or not. Love between man and woman is absent in the Westland. And by the word love, they basically understand the physical pleasures, and the spiritual flavor or spiritual connection is completely an idea which is alien to the people of the Westland. And in today's class, we will again explain the love affair which is going on in the working class society. And as you all know, that Tiresias is the observer. He is observing everything which is happening around him. And over here, Tiresias is a person, unisex. That means the person combines both male and female gender. So he says, at the violet hour, when the eyes and back turn upward from the desk, when the human engine waits like a taxi throbbing waiting. Now, look at the comparison. The human engine, the human heart, has been compared to the throbbing of a taxi. That means when a taxi starts running, there is a kind of sound of the engine. So a comparison has been drawn between the sound of the engine of a taxi cab and the sound of the heart of a human being. So the heart of a human being is almost synonymous to the machine or to the engine of a taxi. So you can gauge that how Eliot criticizes the emotions and passions of the Western people. Basically, he indicates that their emotions and passions are equally mechanical and as the sound of a taxi or the engine of a taxi. I, Tiresias, though blind, throbbing between two lives. So, I have already said that Tiresias is both male and female, old man with wrinkled female breasts. So, he is describing his own physical reality, can see at the violet hour, the evening hour that strives, and he is saying that the evening is approaching homeward and brings the sailor home from sea. And as we all know, that when it's evening, the sailors they return from the sea. The typist home at tea time clears the breakfast light. So this episode is focused on a typist girl, and the typist girl is now at home, and she works as a typist girl in an office, and clears her breakfast, lights her stove, and lays out food in tins. So this is almost evening, and the typist girl has returned from her service, from her job. And look at the dirtiness, the kind of sordidness that the people of the Western society they maintain in their lifestyle. That she had her breakfast in the morning, but all the things they remained uncleared and uncleaned. She did not clean the dining table probably, or the dishes she used, or the plates and the spoons she used at the time of breakfast. So now when she returns, She is going to clear all these things. Out of the window perilously sprayed her dying combinations, touched by the sun's last rays. On the divan are piled stockings, slippers, camisoles, and stays. And look how disorganized or unorganized the girl is, and how dirty a style of life she maintains, that all her dresses have been piled on the divan, the stockings, slippers, and other dresses that a girl wears, that she doesn't have any sense of beauty. She doesn't have any sense of, you can say, sanctity, any taste about life. So she shows, or she reveals, a completely degenerated soul, a soul which is in love with dirty things, a soul which is in love with the sordidness of nature. And there is nothing called purity, there is nothing called sanctity, chastity, either in the character of this girl or in the atmosphere or the environment that she has created around herself. So it's a dirty environment, and everything is in a state of chaos. So there is nothing, you can say, which is organized in this girl's life. She has returned from the office, and she is now clearing the tray, the tin, the plate that she used, and spoon that she used at the time of breakfast. And after returning, she has just carelessly sprayed her dresses over or on the divan. So, she doesn't have any taste of cleanliness, any sense of cleanliness in her life, neither in her life nor in her character, as we can gaze. I, Tiresias, old man with wrinkled dugs, perceived the scene. So Tiresias says that I can gaze at what's going to happen, and foretold the rest. And now I am going to foretell you that what is going to happen to this girl. I too awaited the expected guest. So, like the girl, Tiresias is also expecting for the guest. So someone is coming. So someone comes probably every evening. So look at this scenario. Look at this episode. You will find a similarity between this episode and the episode we studied previously, where we saw an aristocratic lady awaiting her lover. So similarly, same situation, same picture we are observing in the life of the working class people. So the only difference is the class. So love, I mean genuine love, is absent in all the spheres of the society. It's absent in the upper class society, it's absent in the middle class society, it's absent in the working class society. It's absent in the among the lovers, and it's also absent even in the conjugal life, I mean between the husband and the wife. So Tiresias can gaze that what is going to happen. The expected guest will come. He, the young man carbuncular, arrives. So the guest is a man who has got a carbuncle. Carbuncle is a kind of disease. That means having a kind of tumor, basically on the face. So having a tumor on the face is symbolic about the tumor or the cancer the Western civilization is suffering from. So the carbuncular man, or the man who is carrying a kind of carbuncle on his face, or who is carrying a tumor on his face, is basically is his tumor, his carbuncular, symbolizes or allegorizes the cancerous sale of the society, the cancerous situation of the society. So that is exactly what is happening in the life of the people of the Western society. The man arrives, a small house agent's clerk. So that is his job. So the typist girl, who is a typist girl, who is a composer, who composes things. At that time, there was no computer, so everything was being done on typewriter. So the girl was working as a typist in an office, and her lover is again a clerk in a house agent's office with one bold stare, and that man is very confident and he knows that he's going to have fun with the girl. One of the law on whom assurance sits as a silk hat on a Bradford millionaire. So it's kind of a hat that he uses, and probably the use of the hat makes him more confident. The time is now propitious, so it's suitable time. Why the time is suitable? As he guesses, and the man also guesses, I mean the lover also guesses that it's the suitable time for making love with the girl. Because the meal is ended, the girl has probably completed her meal. She is bored and tired. Now the girl, after the day's work and after the dinner probably, or after the meal, she has become tired and she is now spending a bored time. And for the lover thinks that this is the most appropriate time to approach her about love making because she will not protest. Endeavors to engage her in caresses which still are unreproved if undesired. And look at the kind of attraction or the feelings the girls has for the lover. When they make love, obviously it's talking about making physical love. When they make love, the girl doesn't basically enjoy making love. T.S. Eliot, I am telling you repeatedly that T.S. Eliot was a very religious person, and for him, making physical love is basically intended to continue the generation, and there must be a spirit even in physical love. What we see that the girl doesn't approve the advances of the lover, nor she is interested in the love. She thinks that, well, the boyfriend has come, so let it go. So that's how the love making goes on. She doesn't protest. Moreover, she doesn't enjoy the love. So it's a kind of situation which Eliot creates over here, that the girl doesn't enjoy the making of the love, but at the same time she thinks that, well, let it go. So that is the situation. So there is no pleasure, there is no genuine pleasure even in the physical love of these people, because their love affair is completely mechanical. And how do we know that this is mechanical? Because the girl doesn't protest, or she doesn't expect it either. Flushed and decided, he assaults at once, exploring hands, encounter no defense. So as I was telling, as I was explaining, that the man is so confident and the man doesn't expect for the response of his beloved, and exploring hands encounter no defense. So it's a kind of one-way love, and Eliot basically looks at this kind of love making not distinguishable from animal love. So what he says, or what he reveals, wants to reveal, that this sort of physical love is basically synonymous to and similar to animal pleasures. So human beings, the kind of pleasures they are trying to extract out of physical love, it becomes just synonymous to animal love, because the lover, it doesn't care for or doesn't bother for the response of the beloved. And that's why Eliot is using such a strong line, exploring hands encounter no defense, as if it's a kind of battle, as if it's a kind of conflict. It's not a kind of love affair. His vanity requires no response, so he's so proud that he doesn't look for the response of his girlfriend, and makes a welcome of indifference, and he doesn't care whether the beloved is indifferent to love affair or not, indifferent to love making or not. He doesn't care for that. So it's a criticism against the physical love of the Western people. Their physical love is almost animal love, and as I have already mentioned, that it's hardly distinguishable from animal love. And I, Theseus, have for suffered all enacted on the same divan or bed. I who have sat by Thebes below the wall, and walked among the lowest of the dead. So I am that Tiresias who has seen so many things in his life. And I am watching this sort of sordidness of love affair throughout my whole life. And here, Tiresias also refers to the kind of incestuous love that existed between Oedipus and his mother, though unknowingly. So that love was, incestuous. That love was unholy. That physical, connection, or that physical love was completely unholy. So this type of unholy things are going on over here. The way Thebes became wasteland, similarly, this modern civilization is becoming wasteland. I say that there is biblical wasteland that Eliot refers to in this poem. There is the wasteland of Thebes, which became waste after the incestuous love and perpetrated by Oedipus unknowingly, obviously. But that unholy act made the land waste and barren, sterile. So similarly, that kind of unholy love affair, that kind of unholy things, impure things, immoral activities, sacrilegious activities have made the Western civilization a wasteland. Bestows one final patronizing kiss, so the job is done. The love affair, the love making is over, and after the final patronizing kiss, and gropes his way, finding the stairs unlit. So he descends through the dark stair, the lover. So the lover comes, and he has basically come to enjoy physical love, and the job is done, and he didn't care for the response of his beloved. And when the job is over, he doesn't wait for any moment, any further second. As we have also noticed, we also noticed during the time when I discussed the episode of Belladonna, the Lady of Situation. Look at the comparison that Eliot draws between the lover of Belladonna and the lover of this typist girl. That in both cases they come to simply gratify their physical desires. They have no fascination, no emotions for their beloved. So it's purely animal pleasures that they are hankering after. She turns and looks a moment in the glass. And what about the girl? She now looks at the glass, hardly aware of her departed lover. And she doesn't also care for the lover who departs. So she also doesn't have any feelings for her lover. Her brain allows one half-formed thought to pass. So as thoughts come to her mind and they evaporate, similarly, the arrival of the lover was a kind of thought that just came to the mind of the lover and then evaporated. Well, now that's done. Not only that, she is very happy that the job was done, as she considered and treated making love as one of the routine work of the day. As routine work like cooking, doing other sort of things, washing, similar was love making. So she was happy that like other routine work, this routine work was done for that particular day. And I'm glad it's over. And she says that she is glad it's over. If there was genuine love between these two, then she would lament for it that, well, my love had departed. So she would lament. So instead of lamenting over the departure of of her lover, she is rather saying that I am glad that the job is over. When lovely woman stoops to Fulia and paces about her room again, alone she smooths her hair with automatic hand and puts the record on the gramophone. So the hand of this typist girl, again here there is an allusion. I am not going to explain it anymore because there are hundreds of allusions over here. So since it's itself it's an important episode, so let's focus on the episode alone. She smooths her hair with automatic hand. So her hand, since she is a typist girl, there is a kind of automatic approach of the hand. the way she types she uses her fingers on the typing machine. It's the similar way she uses her fingers when directing her own hair or making love or whatever you say, and puts a record on the gramophone, and with the same mechanical fingers she plays a record on the gramophone. So you know that Eliot deliberately is making a connection between human fingers, human hands, and gramophone and typing machine. So it indicates that human hands are almost machine-like things, and there is no difference between a person's hand and the typewriter machine. This music crept by me upon the waters and along the stand up Queen Victoria Street. Oh city, city, I can sometimes hear beside a public bar in Lower Thames Street the pleasant whinnying of a mandolin and a clatter and a chatter from within, where fishmen lounge at noon, where the walls of Magnus Martyr hold inexplicable splendor of Ionian white and gold. Here is a contrast, that Eliot is always offering us contrast. And what kind of contrast do we see over here? We see that there is a public bar from where the sound of spoons and forks are coming, from where the sound of a kind of mandolin is a kind of instrument, string instrument, and a kind of sound of music is also coming from the bar. The sound of spoons and forks probably of eating. So they are relishing, the people of the Western civilization, they are relishing on different types of foods, they are relishing drinks, they are relishing music, obviously music that stirs physical desire, and clatter and chatter from within, where fishmen lounge at noon. So here the lounge means taking rest. So these sounds are coming from the birds where probably this sort of professional people, they come and take rest. So what does Eliot focus over here? That people are rather busy in making physical pleasures, in doing physical pleasures. Making love is one kind of physical pleasure. Eating and relishing on food is also physical kind of attraction. Drinking is also physical attraction. And the kind of sound, this sound doesn't stir their spirit, rather it stirs their physical desire, I have already said. And what do they ignore? They ignore the walls of Magnus Martyr. It indicates a church. So the bell of the church remains unheard. The church remains unattended and remains empty. There is hardly any visitor in the church. The visitors are spending their time in enjoyment in the bar and other places. Inexplicable splendor of Ionian white and gold. The church is beautiful. The church is decorated with Greek sculpture, but nobody is fascinated by the beauty and by the spirit of the church. Nobody is fascinated by nobody is attracted to the religious path, or to the path of Christianity. So that is the contrast that Eliot is creating over here. That the church remains empty, but the public bar is full of sound, full of merriment, full of drinks, full of different food items, and full of physical love. So that is the condition of the Western people. The river sweats oil and tar, the birches drip. This is the same river Thames. The Thames was once, full of life, but now it has lost its glamour. With the turning tide, red sails wide to leeward swing on the heavy spurt, the Burgess was drifting logs down Greenwich Reach past the Isle of Dogs. So down Greenwich Reach past the Isle of Dogs, it means the place where the Elizabeth I was born. Now again you will see a kind of comparison and contrast between Queen Elizabeth I and her lover, out of Leicester, and you will see also the Thames girls. Now Queen Elizabeth and Leicester I mean, they have been replaced by Thames girls, but these Thames girls are undoubtedly not the pure Thames girls of the past. These girls are basically, I have already discussed previously, that they are basically girls who are involved in immoral profession. Beating oars, the stern was formed, a gilded shell, red and gold, the brisk swell, rippled both shores, southwest wind carried downstream the peel of bells, white towers. So it's the description of the river. It's the description of the beauty of the river, that when the river was full to the brim, when the river was in her youth, when Elizabeth and Leicester they used to roam on the river, I mean the Thames, there would be a kind of extraordinary scenario. Extraordinary beauty would prevail on that river. But that river has been completely spoiled and polluted by the present situation, or by the people of Western civilization right now. Tramps and dusty trees, Highbury bore me, Richmond and Kew undid me. These are picnic spots, you know. By Richmond I raised my knees supine on the floor of narrow canoe. My feet are at Moorgate and my heart under my feet. After the event he wept, he promised a new start. I made a no comment. What should I resent? Now it's the contrast between, I have already said, Queen Elizabeth I and the Thames girls. Now this particular Thames girl, she has been raped. And what does she say? That after that incident, I mean after the rape, the rapist, he promised a new start, and in response, this girl didn't make any comment. So, love has been replaced by lust, you know. There was love between Elizabeth and her lover, but that love has completely been replaced by lust and action like rape. So, look at the contrast that Eliot creates over here. That love is complete. I am telling you repeatedly that genuine love is completely and absolutely absent in the Western civilization. So, what remains in the Western civilization is fulfilling and relishing physical desire. And not only that, becomes an incident for the people. It becomes a very casual for the people of the Western civilization. And in contrast to the serene and pure love affair of Elizabeth and her lover, we see that that kind of love has been replaced by lust and rape. So that is the contrast. Now the Thames girls are being raped by people. On Margate Sands I can connect nothing with nothing. It's a beautiful line. It's a beautiful line. The line over here on Margate Sands, it's a place, you know. I can connect nothing near London. I can connect nothing with nothing. Now this Thames girls who has been raped, she says that I can make no connection with anything. Can connect nothing with nothing, it means that I can make no connection with anything. So this failure to connect with anything, it's not only the problem of a girl who has been raped. She cannot connect with life and love. She cannot connect between herself and the rapist. She cannot connect with her life, with the world. But at the same time, this inability and failure to connect with anything is a modern crisis. A modern person cannot connect with anything. There is no connection between souls or among souls in modern civilization. So it's a lamentation of a raped girl. It's true. But at the same time, it's the lamentation of any individual living in the modern society. So remember this thing. So this failure of making connection with anything is basically the failure of a modern man. This failure we witnessed in case of Prufrock. This failure of making connection we witnessed in the episode of Belladonna or the Lady of Situation. She could not connect with her lover. We also noticed this failure to connect in the episode of Lil. We also noticed this failure of connection in the episode of the typist girl. And now we see this failure to connect even over here, the girl when she is being raped. The broken fingernails of dirty hands, my people humble, people who expect. So she says that we are poor people, we are humble people. So what can we say? What can we do? We expect nothing from the world. And we think that this is our fate. To Carthage then I came, burning, 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 burning. O Lord, thou pluckest me out. O Lord, thou pluckest burning. So again, we are going back to Gautam Buddha's counseling on, nirvana. That he was telling that the world is on fire. The world is on the fire of lust and physical desire. The world is, burning with the fire of lust and physical love. So what Gautam Buddha suggests that you have to sacrifice physical pleasures. You have to sacrifice physical passion and and you have to develop a control on your physical passion. And that's the essence of his counseling on nirvana. So everything is burning. The human beings are burning in the fire of lust. So that is the target of Gautam Buddha. Gautam Buddha targeted to control the, burning. To control the lust, to control physical desire, to control the flame of lust. And similarly, Eliot is asking his people, the people of the Western civilization, to have a kind of control over physical love. So it's the end of section 3. In my next class, I will start section 4, and section 4 is very short. And I will continue section 5 as well. I will try to complete, the Westland in the next 2 classes. And in the final class, I will make a kind of comparison between the Westland, Tufok, there are other texts, modern novels, modern dramas in the syllabus of 4th year. So I will make a kind of comparison among all these modern texts, whether these texts are drama, poetry or novel. And I will also make a kind of comparison and contrast with continental literature like The Outsider and Metamorphosis in the last class of the Westland. And at the same time, I will again give some references to some Bangla poems and songs. So I hope that you will attend my last 2 classes on the Westland as you attended the previous classes. So thank you very much. Stay safe.